Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Joe. In this session, we shall be discussing a few more important diagram based multiple choice questions from the different chapters in biology which we have for the first semester exam. But before I move on to the discussion, let me just remind you to do subscribe to my channel and share with your friends so that they too can be benefited. If you really like my videos, please press that like button there so that I will be encouraged to put up more videos. Moving on to question number 1. A pure breeding pea plant with purple flowers is crossed with a plant having white flowers. Okay, as you can see in the figure, there is a purple flowered plant is being crossed with a white flowered plant. You can see the parental plants there. So in the question it is written pure breeding pea plant. When terms like pure breeding, true breeding, etc. comes, remember what is meant by a pure breeding plant. Pure breeding or true breeding means that it produces the same type of offsprings generation after generation. Okay, so when purple flowered plants or when a purple flowered plant is self-pollinated or when it is allowed to self-pollinate, it will produce purple flowered plants generation after generation. Such a plant is said to be a pure breeding or a true breeding. So when will this happen? When the genotype of the plant is in the homozygous condition. Okay, suppose we are taking the English alphabet P. Okay, purple flowers are dominant traits and white flowered plant or white color is a recessive trait. So we are using capital P and small p to represent the purple and white flowered plants. A pure breeding pea plant with purple flowers. So purple flowers is the dominant trait. So we always write is since in the question it is mentioned a pure breeding plant means it will be represented in the homozygous condition, or it will be expressed in the homozygous condition. When we write the genotype, it will be in the homozygous condition. Whereas when it comes to the recessive trait, it will not be mentioned in the question as pure breeding. Okay, because we should know that always the recessive trait will be expressed in the homozygous condition. Always for a recessive trait, the genotype will be in the homozygous condition. Whereas in the case of dominant trait, the genotype can either be in the homozygous condition or in the heterozygous condition. So there are two possibilities for a dominant trait. Either the genotype will be in the homozygous dominant condition or it might be in the heterozygous dominant condition. Whereas in the case of a recessive trait, the genotype will always be in the homozygous condition. Okay, a recessive trait will always be expressed in the homozygous condition. Now in the question it is mentioned a pure breeding pea plant. So that means, as I told you in the beginning, a pure breeding means this type of plants when self-pollinated will produce the same type of plants generation after generation. So what type or what will be the genotype of such plants? They will be in the homozygous dominant condition. So always when terms like pure breeding, true breeding, etc. comes, remember the genotype will be in the homozygous condition. Okay, now moving on to the first question. What are the genotypes of the parents? The parents are pure breeding purple flowered plant and white flowered plant. Okay, what are the genotypes of the parents? The options are capital P small p crossed with capital P small p, capital P crossed with small p, capital P small p crossed with small p, small p crossed with small p. So in the question it is mentioned pure breeding purple flowered. So always, as I told you, when the terms like pure breeding, true breeding, etc. comes, remember the genotypes will be always in the homozygous dominant condition. See, so which is the correct option? Did you identify the correct option? So pure breeding purple flowered plant will be represented by capital P, and white flowered plant will be small p, small p. So what is the correct answer? What are the genotypes of the parents? Answer is option 2, capital P crossed with small p, small p. I hope it is clear to all of you. Moving on to the next question. What would be the genotypes of the F1 generation? So remember, we got the genotypes of the parents. Capital P is crossed with small p, small p. Okay, now what are the gametes that are produced from this parent? All the gametes produced will be capital P. Okay, what about this parent? What are the gametes produced? All the gametes produced will be containing small p. So what will be the genotype of the F1 generation? The fusion of the two gametes will produce the genotype capital P, small p. See, F1 generation. What would be the genotypes of the F1 generation? Looking at the options, capital P, small p, capital P, small p, both 1 and 2. So which is the correct answer? The answer is option 3, capital P, small p. Understood? Now, moving on to the next question. If F1 progeny is self-pollinated, F1 is, we know, it is capital P, small p. So that is the F1 progeny. Okay, F1 progeny is self-pollinated. What would be the phenotypes of F2 generation? So self-pollination means the genotypes of the male and the female parent will be the same, because self-pollination is being done in the same plant, or within the same flower, or within two flowers of the same plant, present in the same plant. So they will have the same genotypes. The male and the female parent will have will be represented by the same genotypes. So F1 progeny is self-pollinated. What would be the phenotypes of F2 generation? So here from this parent you can get two different types of gametes. Okay, two types of gametes will be produced from this parent. Similarly, this parent is also capable of producing two different types of gametes. See? Okay, now if we draw it using a Punnett square. Okay, so what will be the genotype? The fusion of these two gametes, capital P, these two, capital P, small p, this and this, capital P, small p, this and this, small p, small p. Got it? So these are the genotypes of the F2 generation. Okay, these are the genotypes of the F2 generation. Look at the question. If F1 is self-pollinated, here self-pollination is being done, what would be the phenotypes of F2 generation? So what are the phenotypes that we got? We got three different types of genotypes. Which are the genotypes that we got? Capital P we got. See, capital P, small p we got. See, this one and this one. And the third genotype is small p, small p. Here it is not the genotype that is asked. What are the phenotypes? Phenotypes means the expressed character. The observable character is the phenotype. Okay, so what is the phenotype of the F2 generation? We know capital P and capital P, small p represent purple flowered plants, isn't it? Capital P and capital P, small p represent purple flowered plants. We have seen at the beginning of the question, and it is small p which produces white flowered plants. Okay, what would be the phenotypes of F2 generation? Look at the options. Only purple flowered plants? No. Only white flowered plants? No. Both purple and white flowered plants? Yes, that is correct. We get both purple and white flowered plants. Okay, fourth option, pink flowered plant. That is wrong. That is completely wrong according to what we have to study. So the correct answer is option 3. Both purple and white flowered plants are obtained in the F2 generation. What will be the genotypic ratio of F2 generation? next question is, what is the genotypic ratio? We know there are 3 genotypes that we got, capital P, capital P, capital P, small p, and small p, small p. Genotypes are, these are the genotypes. What is the genotypic ratio? How many capital P, capital P? 1 capital P, capital P, isn't it? Is to how many small capital P, small p? We got 1, 2. So 2 capital P, small p, and 1 small p, small p. Understood? So what is the next question? What will be the genotypic ratio of F2 generation? Which is the correct answer? Options are 1:2:1, 2:2, 3:1, 1:1:1:1. The correct answer is option 1, 1:2:1. 1 capital P is to 2 capital P small p is to 1 small p small p. Okay, so that is the genotypic ratio of F2 generation. What will be the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation? How many purple flowered plants did we get? Okay, now coming back to that explanation. Okay, look at the Punnett square. Which are the purple flowered plants? This is a purple flowered plant. This is again a purple flowered plant. This is also a purple flowered plant, isn't it? So how many purple flowered plants did we get? 3. 1, 2, 3. Out of the 4 plants produced, 3 are purple flowered plants, isn't it? 3 are purple flowered plants and 1 is white flowered. Okay, now let us move back to the question once again. What will be the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation? What will be the phenotypic ratio? We have seen 3 purple. Phenotypes are purple and purple flowered plants and white flowered plants. How many purple flowered plants? 3. 3 purple is to 1 white. Out of the 4 plants produced, 3 will be purple and 1 will be white. So which is the correct answer? Look at the options. 1:2:1. That is the genotypic ratio which we have seen before in the previous question. 2:2 and 1:1:1. Both are wrong. So the correct answer is, the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation is 3:1. 3 purple is to 1 white. Okay. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Now we shall move on to the next question. Okay. This is a sex-linked inheritance shown here. A question from sex-linked inheritance. Moving on to question 2. A normal man marries a carrier woman for color blindness. We know color blindness is an X-linked trait. It is a trait. The gene for color blindness is located on the X chromosome. Okay, so what is the genotype of a, so the parents are normal man and woman. Mother is a carrier woman for color blindness. Carrier, what is meant by carrier woman? What is a carrier woman? Carrier woman means the woman or the mother has the gene, but she is not expressing the trait. She has the gene for color blindness, but she is not color blind. Okay, that is what is meant by a carrier woman. But we can see that the father is a normal man. So what is the genotype of a father? Father, the male, the genotype of the male is always XY, isn't it? Whereas what is the genotype of the mother? We know it is XX. XX represents the female genotype. But here in the question, the mother is not a normal mother, but she is a carrier mother. So we have seen that color blindness is a trait. The gene for color blindness is located on the X chromosome, and it is due to the recessive gene that is located on the X chromosome. So if we represent the gene for color blindness as small c, so a normal woman will have the genotype XX, that will be the genotype of a normal woman. But since in the question it is mentioned the mother is a carrier mother, the genotype will be one of the X will have the gene for color blindness. Only one of the X chromosome will have the gene for color blindness. So this is the genotype of a carrier mother. She will be a carrier woman. If she is a colorblind woman, okay, what would be the genotype? Both the X chromosomes will have the recessive gene. The gene for color blindness will be located on both the X chromosome. Then she will be, such a woman will be a colorblind woman. Colorblind. So I hope you have got it. So that is a normal woman. A normal woman has the genotype XX, whereas a carrier woman will have the gene for color blindness located on one of the X chromosome, whereas a colorblind woman will have the colorblind woman will have the gene for color blindness located on both the X chromosomes. Now look at the question. What are the genotypes of the parents? We have already found out the genotypes. Man, father is a normal man. So options are, let us first look at the options, XY and XX. XCY and XX, XY and XCX, XYC and XCXC. Okay, so here we have already found out the answer. The father is a normal man. So from this normal man, the genotypes will be capital. So we have option 1 and option 3 to choose from. So this is also a normal father. This is also a normal father. Now coming to the second the remaining part of the question, a normal man marries a carrier woman. What is the genotype of the carrier woman? The carrier mother will have the genotype capital XCX. So which is the correct answer? Option 3. That is the correct answer. Okay, the genotype of the father will be XY and that of the carrier mother is XCX. Hope it is clear to all of you, my dear children. Just move on to the next question. The gene for color blindness is located on, yes, that also we have discussed. The options are sex chromosomes, autosomes, Y chromosome, X chromosome. Okay, there can be a confusion arising between option 1 and option 4. Okay, but here since X chromosome is there, the correct answer will be option 4, X chromosome. Okay, because sex chromosomes are of two types. There are two types, X and Y. Both are sex chromosomes. So in particular, the gene for color blindness is located on X chromosome. So answer is option 4, X chromosome. Next question, what will be the phenotypes of the progeny obtained from the above cross? Yes, what will be the phenotypes of the progeny obtained from the above cross? So what is the cross? Normal man, what is the genotype? XY is the genotype of the father, isn't it? That is the father. He is a normal man. The genotype will be XY. He marries a woman. She is a carrier female for color blindness. So the genotype will be XCX. Correct? Okay. Now what are the gametes that are produced by the father? Father produces two types of gametes, X and Y. Whereas come to the mother, normal mother will produce only one type of eggs, whereas here if you look at the genotype, here two types of eggs will be produced. Half of the eggs will have XC and the remaining half will have only X. See? Now if you draw the Punnett square, we'll just draw the Punnett square. Okay, so gametes of the male parent, father, written here X and Y. Gametes of the mother, written here XC and X. Correct? Now fusion, how to show? This will be XXC. Correct? This will be XCY. Y, isn't it? This one X, X. This one X, Y. See? Now look at the question, what will be the phenotypes of the progeny? Okay, what will be the phenotypes? So what will be the phenotypes? This will be a carrier female, isn't it? XXC, she's a carrier female. Carrier female. XCY. XCY, when the male has the gene for colorblind, we know color blindness is due to a recessive gene which is located on the X chromosome, and we also know that males have only one X chromosome, and if this recessive gene for color blindness is located on that single X chromosome present in male, the male will be colorblind. Okay, but for the females to be color blind, the gene for color blindness should be present on both the X chromosomes, as we have seen before. Whereas, since only one X chromosome is present in a male, and if the gene for color blindness is present on that X chromosome, that means the male will be a color blind male. So that is a color blind male. Son is color blind. This is a normal female. This is a normal male or normal son. Okay. Okay. Now, what will be the phenotypes of the progeny obtained from the above cross? Okay. Look at the options. Moving on to the options. Option 1, all colorblind. Option 2, all normal. Third option, 50% colorblind, 50% normal. Fourth option, 50% normal, 25% colorblind males and 25% carrier females. Look at the Punnett square. Out of the 4 offsprings that we got, one is a carrier female, one is a carrier female, 1 out of 4. She is a carrier female. Okay, and 1 out of 4 is a colorblind male. Correct? And the remaining 2, look at the other 2. The last 2, XX, she is a normal female, and XY, she is a, he is a normal male. So out of the 4 offsprings produced, one will be carrier female, one will be a colorblind male, and the remaining 2 will be normal individuals. Okay, so look at the option O, all colorblind. No, that is not the correct option. All normal, that is also wrong. 50% colorblind and 50% normal, that is wrong. 50% is not colorblind. Okay, 50% is normal, but the remaining 50% is not colorblind. Look at the fourth option, 50% normal. Yes, 25% colorblind males and 25% carrier females. So what will be the phenotypes of the progeny obtained from the above cross? The correct answer is option 4, 50% normal, 25% colorblind males and 25% carrier females. Okay, hope it is clear to all of you. Now moving on to the next question. Color blindness and hemophilia are disorders caused due to, options are recessive genes located on X chromosome, dominant genes located on X chromosome, recessive genes located on Y chromosome, recessive genes located on both X and Y chromosome. In the beginning itself, we have discussed that color blindness and hemophilia are both X-linked disorders. They are due to recessive genes located on the X chromosome. So the correct answer is option 1, recessive genes located on X chromosome. Next question, which among the following is not related with criss-cross inheritance? Okay, which is not related with criss-cross inheritance. So what, before moving on to the options, what is meant by criss-cross inheritance? Inheritance of characters from mother to son or from father to daughter. Such type of inheritances are called criss-cross inheritance. Okay, so which among the following is not related with criss-cross inheritance? Inheritance of X-linked genes, inheritance of color blindness and hemophilia, inheritance of the disorder from mother to son, inheritance of the disorder from mother to daughter. We have already seen X-linked genes. Examples we have already seen color blindness and hemophilia. They are genes that are located on the X-linked chromosomes. And we should know that such genes or the inheritance of such genes, we can say that they follow a crisscross pattern of inheritance. Okay, so option 1, it is related with crisscross inheritance. Inheritance of genes that are located on the X chromosomes observe a crisscross pattern of inheritance. Inheritance of color blindness and hemophilia. These are genes, these are due to recessive genes located on the X chromosome. So they also observe the pattern of crisscross inheritance. The third option, inheritance of the disorder from mother to son. Yes, crisscross inheritance means the inheritance of characters from mother to son or from father to daughter. So which is not related with crisscross inheritance, that is the inheritance of disorder from mother to daughter. So the correct answer is option 4. Okay, option 4, that is the inheritance of the disorder from mother to daughter. That is the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next question. Question number 3. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Okay, you have seen the diagram there. That is an apparatus that's shown there. Identify the apparatus. Gannon's spotometer, Garrow's spotometer, Farmer's spotometer and Darwin's spotometer. Which is the apparatus that is shown there? That is Gannon's spotometer. We just have this apparatus alone in our textbook. So it is Gannon's spotometer. There is no confusion in that question. Okay. So the correct answer is option A, Gannon's spotometer. Name the process being studied. Options are bleeding, transpiration, guttation, exudation. Which is the process that is being studied with this apparatus, Gannon's spotometer? Spotometer is a device that is used to study the process of transpiration. Okay, so the correct answer is answer option B, transpiration. It is not bleeding, guttation or exudation. Exudation, the two forms or two types of exudation are bleeding and guttation. So the correct answer is option B, transpiration. The process being studied with the help of Gannon's spotometer is transpiration. Next question, identify the correct definition for the process identified above. So what is the process that we have identified above? Transpiration. Okay, now identify the correct definition for the process identified above. Look at the options. Loss of water in the form of water droplets from the aerial parts of the plant. Option B, loss of cell sap from the injured parts of plant. Option C, loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. Option D, loss of water in the form of water vapor through vein endings. So we have identified the process as transpiration. What is the correct definition for transpiration? Loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. So the correct answer is option C, loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. So in such type of questions, if you have identified the process wrongly, then you will naturally get this question also wrong. So such questions are linked in diagram based questions. The questions given under the diagram will be linked. So if you make a mistake in one of the questions, naturally you might get the other questions also wrong. So be careful while answering such type of questions. Now what is the above apparatus used for? Okay, we have identified the apparatus as Gannon's spotometer. What is the above apparatus used for? What is the purpose of this above apparatus? Option A, measures the rate of water intake by a plant. Option B, demonstrate suction force created due to transpiration. Option C, demonstrates unequal transpiration. And option D, none of the above. Okay, so these are the different options given. What is the function or what is the purpose of this apparatus? That is what is asked here. We have identified the apparatus as Ganong spotometer. Okay, look at the option. What is the function? What is the purpose of this apparatus? Measures the rate of water intake by a plant. Yes, that is the correct answer. The second demonstrates suction force created due to transpiration. That is by another type of potometer called as Darwin's potometer. And the potometer that demonstrates unequal transpiration from the two surfaces of a dorsiventral leaf, that is Garrow's potometer. So here the potometer that we have identified is the Ganong's potometer. So the purpose of this Ganong's potometer is to measure the rate of water intake by the plant, and this water intake is equal to the water lost through transpiration. Okay, now so the correct answer is option A, measures the rate of water intake by a plant. Now moving on to the next question, fifth question of this third question which we were discussing, which is not a limitation in the use of this apparatus. Okay, which is not a limitation. Number 1, options are introduction of air bubble is difficult, change in outside temperature affects the position of air bubble, the twig should be cut obliquely, the twig may not remain fully alive for a long time. The question is which is not, you should note that not written there. Okay, which is not a limitation. Look at the options once again. Introduction of air bubble is difficult. That is truly a limitation of this apparatus. The introduction of air bubble into the apparatus is difficult. Change in outside temperature affects the position of air bubble. That is also a limitation of this apparatus. Any change in the outside temperature can affect the position of the air bubble in the capillary tube. Third option, the twig should be cut obliquely. That is not a limitation. That is actually a precaution that is to be followed. The twig should be cut obliquely. This is to increase the surface area for the absorption of water. That is, that means if that is a twig, I'll draw it once again. If that is a twig, should be cut obliquely means this is an oblique cut. So it has greater surface area than a twig which is cut straight like that. See, so the twig should be cut obliquely. This is to increase the surface area for the absorption of water. Okay, so that is one of the precaution that should be followed while using this apparatus. While look at the fourth option, the twig may not remain fully alive for a long time. Yes, that is also a limitation of this apparatus. So option A, B and D are limitations of this apparatus, whereas it is option C which is not a limitation. So the correct answer is option C, the twig should be cut obliquely. Okay, the twig should be cut obliquely. That is the correct answer. Okay children, so with that we have come to the end of the discussion of a few important diagram based multiple choice questions. I hope this session is clear to all of you. If you have any doubts regarding any of the questions that we have discussed, please do ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.